Hey guys, welcome to the Conn'Cast. I am Finn Tumber, and today I'm joined with Eve. Eve Waters.
Yes.
God, that's been awful. I've known Eve for like...
About 10 years now.
I almost lost a surname. That is awful. But yeah, it's great to have you on, by the way. Thank you for coming on.
It's lovely to be on.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that it's happened. I think you're one of like the first people to message, actually.
Oh, 100%.
Well, I didn't know if you definitely wanted to, so I had to then check. But no, thank you for coming on. I really appreciate
I'm
it.
happy for you having me on.
Yeah,
thank you very much.
Good. So Eve is going to talk a little bit about her mental health. Obviously, this is what the podcast is about, but it'll be anything from childhood. I think we spoke about before this episode, childhood all throughout uni, her mental health now. Obviously, I don't know about any of this. This is just the topics we're going to speak about. So yeah, Eve, are you doing all right?
Yeah.
Good. Where do you want to start? Good. Come on, load it on.
God. Where do we want to start? So I'd say probably my journey with my mental health started probably when I was about 13 years old. That was when I was first diagnosed with depression.
Right.
So the reason I was diagnosed with depression was because I was in a low place and I had self-harmed.
Yes.
And my mum had seen one day and sort of turned around and went, look, come on, let's go to the doctors about this. Let's see what this is about, sort of thing. So I went to the doctors and he said, look, you know, we had this big discussion. Obviously, it wasn't just a, you know, in and out thing. And he said, you know, by the looks of it, you've got depression. And at first, it was sort of a, right, okay, what do I do about this? How do I go about my life? You know, what's going to change? And I think something that only in recent years I've come to realise is the fact that your whole life doesn't change when you get diagnosed with depression. It makes an understanding. There's an explanation. There's, you know, it sort of gives you an idea as to why things in your life are going the way that they're going, but it doesn't stop it. You know, and it never will.
It kind of gives you like an understanding of yourself better. Like you've done that and you're like, okay, I know myself better.
Exactly.
It's amazing. That's so good. You got diagnosed. That's brilliant. That
it was, you know, it was something that I'm glad happened at the time. I was offered medication and I said no to that at that point.
Okay, yeah, interesting, yeah.
Yeah, so I after getting diagnosed, very luckily I had quite a supportive network around me, and the self-harm sort of stopped as soon as it started, really, at that point. And it was only a couple of years later that I sort of started getting counselling through my school and things. Had a couple of sessions, two lots of sessions
That's good.
about that. Yeah, it was really good, actually.
I was going to say, I don't know if I said this at the start, but me and Eve actually know each other since... We've got to mention that bit, because you say like my school, but we went to the same school.
Yeah.
So sorry to cut you short, but yeah, me and Eve, how long has it been?
So it's been, I met you...
Were you like year 8 or something?
I was year 7.
You were year 7?
I met you on the bus when I was going to school in year 7.
Oh my God.
So it had been 10 years ago.
I was year 9, by the way, guys. I'm not a weirdo. We both went to the same school.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah, I used to sit with you guys on the bus.
Yeah, I actually remember the first time I met you, actually. It was really funny. I don't know if I've told you this, but I remember just like climbing up the stairs, like, because it was W, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was W.
And
I remember, I was like, who's this? Like, I didn't know you. I think we had like mutual friends, and here we are, 8-9 years later. Crazy.
It's mental when you think about it.
Back to the story. So yeah, obviously I know about the counselling you did at Westlands, right? Oh, I'm allowed to say this to school?
I don't know. I haven't spoke to them, but
yeah, why not? Right, why not? Anyway, as you were, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I had some counselling with the school, and you know, I believed that, you know, once counselling was over and done with, that was it. Problem solved, everything was fine. Yeah. You know, I spoke about some things in my counselling that kept coming up through different sessions, and I thought, yeah, all right, I spoke about this enough now. It's something that, you know, I'm done with. You've done
offloaded,
with this.
You've done it, and you
exactly.
Think, yeah.
And I don't think it was until later on, after lockdown and when I went to uni and everything, that things started to come back to me, and I started thinking, oh, maybe I'm not okay with all of this.
Right.
So yeah.
What was it? Sorry. So like, obviously, like you went to uni and stuff. What was it that kind of like opened it back up and you went, I haven't actually got hold of this yet?
Right. So I should have mentioned when just before lockdown started, my granddad passed away, unfortunately.
I'm sorry to hear that.
He was like the absolute light of my life.
I remember that actually.
Yeah, he was a great man and everything. And unfortunately, he passed away just before lockdown started. And his funeral was the day that Boris announced that we were going into a lockdown. So
it was like late March, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. So it was one of them things where everything just sort of went
and crumbed in on itself.
All at once. There was just things piling on top. And, it didn't help that over lockdown, you're just left with your own thoughts. And my mum, it was just me and my mum, and she was a critical worker.
Oh God, so she's out doing stuff.
I was literally at home all day, every day, talking to the walls. I had Tubbs with me, with my dog. He was my only company that I had throughout it. He was so, when you're sat there and all you're thinking about is all of these things.
You're in your head.
Exactly. And, I think everyone felt it during lockdown in one way or another. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
And
you were in sixth form, weren't you? So like, I guess, did your schoolwork kind of stop at that point as well?
Yeah, so for about 3 or 4 months it stopped, and then when it started back up again, it was like online and stuff.
It's weird, wasn't it? Yeah.
It was weird. I mean, I fell asleep during half of them lessons. I think everyone just sort of expected it from us, to be honest.
A lot of people can relate with lockdowns.
I think 100%. it was such a difficult way to do things. But when lockdown happened is when I started thinking more about, oh God, all of these things have happened in my life. Then you start realising, or maybe that one bit of counselling I had hasn't solved everything. And
it's a realisation, a scary realisation.
Exactly.
That you're like, oh God, like actually, which is fine if you need to get more help, which is great if you do.
100%.
But it's quite scary if I'm back imagining, like, oh God, this is...
Exactly, it's, it's a difficult thing. It's hard, and I have sympathy for every other person who has been through things like this, especially during a time like that, because it was uncharted territory, really, wasn't it? We've not done that before. It's not happened. It's not been a thing.
Yep. And the sort of like uncertainty of how long is this going to last?
Yeah.
Am I just stuck here? And it's just not knowing the future kind of messes your head all the time, isn't it? Because you can't future plan, and you're kind of just lost in your head because of that. A lot of people can relate, and I think a lot of people watching this can really relate to that.
100%. I was getting to the point where one of my friends, when you could get like takeaways and things. When you could get them.
Yeah.
And it was like the best thing in the world. And one of my friends worked for Domino's. Can I say Domino's?
Oh, of course you can. Yeah, they're a big brand. It's all right.
So when one of my friends worked for Domino's, and genuinely, like, once a week I would order a pizza just in the hopes that she'd be the delivery driver, just in the hopes that I could stand there while she put a pizza on the floor and I could go, hello, I've missed you.
Yeah, because you can't, otherwise you can't see them.
Exactly.
How mental is it thinking that the world was like that?
I watched her put a cardboard box on the floor and it genuinely made my week.
She probably had like a mask on as well, probably. Maybe
she had a mask on.
A mask, yeah.
And I couldn't. It was one of the hardest things, not being able to hug someone, not being able to just spend time with anyone. And even when like we could go back out on walks and things.
Yeah.
That was hard because, like, when we went out because we went.
I was just going to mention that when you said it.
When we went for that walk during lockdown, and it was
so nice.
God, it'd been like snowing and raining
and
everything.
It must have been like January or like December. It was definitely winter sort of time.
It was around them times, and
it was for a while. Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it was so icy outside, and all I remember is us two walking along like a bunch of pillets, like 2 meters away from each other.
Oh, it was mental.
Slipping all over the place, and the first thing you do is you go and grab out for someone, and then you have to realise you can't do that.
No, but I think we still did it anyway. We're kind of like holding on each other.
I mean, you can't not when you're falling over. If I'm going down, you're coming with me.
It was a slippery slope, and that's not like, it was crazy. I remember like Barton's Point. Oh my! It was funny because like, it's funny you say sorry about lockdown, because I would not have known about any of this, because when you're just talking, I think I might have just like popped up to one of your stories or something, and you just got chatting, and you went to me and said, "Oh, do you fancy like a walk, meet up and stuff?" Because we could do that one on one.
Yeah.
But I didn't know about any of this before, and it just goes to show, like, the moral of the story as well is that you never know what someone's going through ever, ever. Things can look rosy on the outside, and I didn't even know about half this.
Yeah, well, I think like the main thing, what you say there is it really sort of hits home with me, because after lockdown, after that all finished and everything, I was doing okay. ish within myself. I thought, yeah, all right, this is fine. You know, I've got these things going on, but I don't really need to focus about them. You know, very much sort of pushed it towards the back of my mind.
Oh, you do, don't you?
You do, because you don't want to deal with it. You don't want to deal with it on the surface level.
Yeah, 100%.
But then I went to uni in September. Yeah.
You went to uni, yeah.
So
was that the 2021, was it?
Yeah.
Oh, so things were still really weird then.
Exactly. I think we'd just come out of I think it was in the July of 2021 where everyone was like, this is it, we're coming out of lockdown fully. But, you know, you still had all of these precautions in place. You still had everyone so nervous. So, you know, it was different. Everything was different. And when I went to uni, obviously that was it was a new walk of life in so many senses. Everyone was still directing their self and navigating their way around how to do life.
Because you've just got into it's almost like being an adult in a way, going to uni. You have to spend for yourself in a way.
Exactly. You know, I was so looking forward to it. Where it had just been me and mum. Obviously, I love her with my whole heart. You know, she's been the only constant throughout my entire life. But when you live in the same house as one person and you're both so similar and in every sense of the word, sometimes, you know, you
just got to dip a little bit.
It happened. So when it was a case of moving to uni, I was so excited. So I moved away, not too far away. I only moved to Canterbury.
Nice, okay.
But when I was there, you know, it was the best thing. I was so excited. And everyone had always said to me, uni is going to be the best time of your life. You know, say yes to everything. Say yes to going out. Say yes to meeting new people. All of this, you know, you've got to experience this. Yeah. And that's what I did. I threw myself in, you know, in the deep end. And I was so excited. I've always been, I think, quite a social butterfly.
Oh, yeah.
I've always enjoyed meeting new people.
Definitely. You're great. You're great at it.
Just a bit, yeah. But, yeah, I
No, sorry, no, I didn't mean to cut you short. It's just that you're in full flow. But I was just going to ask you, because a lot of people in my other episodes have mentioned about lockdown. It's a very hot topic, and about the anxiety of being in lockdown. And then for you especially, to go from living with your mum, you just you're not seeing your friends, you're not socialising. Was that quite difficult for you, jumping into this big uni town and you're meeting people constantly? Were you okay?
I don't know if this is the answer you want to hear, but no, I was absolutely fine.
No, that's good. There's no right answer. I want you to be honest. So okay?
I was so excited.
That's refreshing to hear.
It was something that I wanted to do. I wanted to get back out there. I wanted to see people. I wanted to meet people.
Amazing.
Like I say, I'm a social person anyway. I love doing things. I love seeing people. I love meeting people. So giving me an entire new world to explore.
You're like buzzing to do it.
Exactly.
Get me out of here.
It was, don't get me wrong, there was a lot of nerves that came with it. I was very anxious, and there's a big world outside of the island.
Yeah.
And I was going somewhere where I wasn't going to know anyone.
Oh yeah.
A lot of the time when people, I know, I'm pretty sure you spoke about this in your first episode that you did about imposter syndrome.
Oh, that's a big one. Yeah.
Yeah, and things like that. You know, and you go to these places and you meet all these people, and at first,
can I do this?
Yeah, can I do this? Am I cool enough to be near these people? Am I,
it's a genuine thing.
Do these people want to be friends with me? Yeah. If they don't want to be friends with me, how can I make these people be friends with me?
And it's very much it's not always a great mindset to have, but it happens. Everyone has it. Yeah. I'm like that as well. I'm like, you almost want to make people like you. Yeah. Like, I've got to fit in.
Yeah.
That's quite tricky.
As much as I am, you know, to anyone that knows me, I'm the sort of person that will turn around and go, oh, I don't care if that person likes me. You know, I probably don't like them. I'm really not that sort of person, and all I want is for people to like me and like the person that I am. 100%. And when you go to somewhere where you have no idea who anyone is, and it's, you know, it's not just people from the same small area as you, the same county. There was people from all over the country, in different countries there, you know. I
didn't know about Canterbury.
When I went to uni, there was so many different, I made some friends with some people, and they were literally from all across the country. You had loads of different places. There was a couple of people from Kent, but then you had places up north. You had Leicester.
But it's majority other parts of the UK.
Yeah,
I never knew that.
There was a lot of people, and what I always found funny was, you know, they'd turn around and they say, "Oh, where are you from?" "Oh, I'm from Kent." "Whereabouts in Kent?" "Isle of Sheppey." And everyone would go, "What?"
live on an island? What?
You'd have two responses.
Do you
You'd
not
have
know it?
no.
That's so funny.
You'd get two responses. You'd get the people that weren't from Kent, didn't know about the island, and they'd turn around and they'd go, "Oh, that sounds nice." Or you'd get people that were from Kent and had heard about the island and they'd go, "Well, sorry about that." You know. So it was very difficult when I first started uni because, like I say, I wanted to make friends. I wanted to not necessarily start a new life, but when you've got a name like Eve and you come from a small place, it doesn't take long for once one person knows who you are, everyone knows who you are.
Oh, it's a very unique name, actually.
Exactly.
It's a very unique.
Yeah. And, you know, it really doesn't take long for one person to go, "Oh, Eve. Oh, what, Eve Waters?" And you go, "Yeah, exactly that person."
I didn't get your surname straight away.
No, exactly.
Awkward.
But, so when I went to uni, it was sort of like everything, all the drama, like the stupid little dramas that you get in when you're like 15, 16 years old.
Oh, it's just resurface all the time.
Exactly.
Like, yeah.
That's all gone.
Oh,
wow. You can make a change for yourself. You can make a difference in the person that you're going to be when you go to uni.
Yeah.
And
that's such a good point. Sorry, I didn't even think about that, because you can kind of like reinvent yourself.
Yeah.
Because no one knows you or anything about you, and you can just finally be the person that you want to be. In a way. That
was sort of the plan when I went to uni. Was, you know, be the person that I want to be.
The plan.
Exactly. Yeah. And you know, I met these friends, and don't get me wrong, they were great for me at the time.
Yeah.
You know, and I will always have love for them because, you know, they were part of my uni experience. They were part of my, 100%. You know, first sort of steps into adulthood.
Yeah.
But I think the problem for me was when I went to uni and I wanted to make all these friends and everything, and I wanted to be this person that I thought I was meant to be.
Yeah.
I went about it the completely wrong way.
Interesting.
Yeah. So obviously, you know, I think one big part about uni is you go there, you go to freshers, you go on these nights out.
You just want to get on it, don't you?
Exactly. That's sort of the main plan, isn't it? You know, everyone turns around and they say, yeah, uni's about the degree, but what it's really about is all of this stuff. And, you know, that is sort of how I felt, and it still is how I feel.
That's the mindset of it, really,
exactly,
isn't it? Like...
You know, I went into uni life with the intention of getting my degree and, you know, going forward, being an adult, being independent, being all this stuff. But unfortunately, I think where, like I say, during lockdown, all these things I thought I was cured from with therapy had sort of been looming over and everything. When I got to uni and I didn't have... I did have my support network, obviously. I still had my friends and family from back home, but they're not as accessible to you, you know. And like I say, I was only in Canterbury, so I wasn't too far away, but it's still, there's that distance now.
Yeah. How did you also find, like, it's really hard to open up to people as it is. I still struggle, and this is why we're doing this podcast. This is literally it to try and open up. But at uni, was it hard to talk to your friends in that way?
Well, this is actually sort of perfect about what I want to say, because it was really hard to open up to people in the same way that, you know, when you meet these new people, like I say, you don't want to come across as someone that has mental health problems and is, you know, sad all the time and has all of this pent up sort of these pent up feelings inside. And now coming to the realization that none of that is wrong, that, you know, there's nothing wrong with all of these things.
1,000,000%.
Absolutely nothing wrong with having anything to do with mental health, having anything in life,
being you, which is what it essentially is.
People go through things every day, and I think it's really hard for people to judge themselves and to put pressure on themselves to not feel like they can talk about it. But that was the thing, is I couldn't talk about it at that point. These were new people I'd met. I didn't want to come across as
this person with all these problems.
Exactly.
And just how you felt at the time.
100%. And the easiest way, where I say it was a lot of pent up things, the easiest way for me to speak to people about things was to have a drink. In the same way that, you know, you have a couple of pints down the pub and your mate turns around to you and goes, "Oh, you're my best friend. I love you. I'll do anything for you." All of this and all of them feelings start coming out, and it's, you know, it's like, it's word vomit. You know, it's
that's
just
the best way to put it.
And, you know, a lot of the time it's just pure crap that's coming out of people's mouths. But you also know they mean it, you know. A drunk man's words are a sober man's thoughts.
It does a lot. That is a lot the case.
Exactly.
You lose. I mean, I don't know. I can't think of the word, but like in your brain when you have alcohol, it takes out your
inhibitions.
Yes, that's the best way to word it. Actually, I was about to say your conscience, but that as well.
Yeah.
You just kind of just say it without any filter of how you really feel. That can be good sometimes. That can be a bit bad.
Yeah.
But which you're about to probably go into, I guess. But yeah.
Yeah. So it was sort of a case of, you know, I need to talk about these things because, you know, I can't keep it pent up inside anymore. So the only way I could get these feelings out was by having a couple of drinks and then speaking to people about it. But then, you know, that's sort of, you have a couple of drinks, you talk about the baseline level, you turn around and you say, oh, you know, I'm feeling a bit down at the moment, and they go, oh, you know, that's really sad. And, you know, everyone was really supportive of me.
Is that surface
level. And then you go, oh, well, maybe I spoke about all of my surface level things, so maybe I think I need to talk about something a bit deeper.
Get it out of you, yeah.
And so you drink a bit more. And I think that was my big problem when I went to uni was I found myself in a situation where in order to open up about my feelings, I was drinking a lot. And I get it, it's part of the uni culture.
Yeah.
And I think that's what I was using as an excuse for myself the entire time.
Yeah.
And
because you're like, oh, I'm at uni, this is...
Exactly.
It's okay to do this, is normal.
It's a Monday night. Of course we're going to go out and stay out until 3 a.m.
What else would a uni student do?
Exactly.
Study?
You know, so that was sort of my thing was, you know, as long as I'm doing uni, I can go out and do these things. And the problem is I then wasn't doing uni and I was just going out and doing these things.
Right.
And, you know, it got to a point where eventually I'd said all I needed to say to these people, and I'd opened up about all of these things, and it hadn't helped.
And the drink was still there, I'm guessing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then it became one of them things where it was, you know, I'm not just drinking to talk to people, I'm now drinking to cover up how I feel, because it's now all on the surface.
Oh, wow.
And
just went full like,
exactly.
Wow.
And, you know, I'll always give the people that I lived with, that I spent my time with uni with, some credit. You know, they were there for me for a long period of time, but then the dynamic changed. It happens, always does. And at this point I had found myself, I was resitting first year, and I'd found that I had really distanced myself from my friends back home.
Right. Of course, because you've gone to uni.
Exactly.
And
like, don't get me wrong, I still saw them, I still spoke to them, but you know, sometimes you have that sort of voice in the back of your head, and not always just yours. There are other people that, you know,
people come in and say things and you stop believing them.
And when I'm being, you know, when you get told your friends aren't there for you as much, then it starts making you think, well, why should I be there for them? And then you distance yourself from them. And
100%. It's natural. Yeah.
You know, when it started getting really quite hard, I also almost completely cut ties with my mum.
Wow.
Yeah. And this is when I sort of started realising that I needed to do something about it, because, like I said earlier, my mum has been my constant in my life. She's literally my best friend. And
that was the switch, you're like...
Yeah, she's my best friend, and I had outside influences sort of saying to me, you know, your mum's not good for you, all this and all that. And actually, no, she was good for me. What she wanted was the best for me. And she could see from an outside perspective that the things that I was doing, and, you know, the amount I was drinking, and the fact that I wasn't going to uni and all that, she could see that. And she was trying to say to me, look, come on, you need to buck your ideas up, sort of thing. And I took that as, you know, you're controlling. And she wasn't. And, you know, like I say, our relationship went really sour at one point, and it was, honestly, that was the worst.
Wow,
worst.
And is that kind of because as well, I think you might have mentioned this already, but was your alcohol and maybe even sometimes your network at uni kind of turned you into a different person, but would you say kind of?
So, you know, I am very much, I know full well that every decision I made, every action that I took was entirely my own, you know.
The whole responsibility.
Exactly. You know, as much as I had all of these, you know, influences on my life, inevitably it was me that made the decisions that I made. But I wouldn't have made them decisions if it wasn't for their help
in the first
place. But you know, it is what it is. Them things
happen.
But you know, when I started realizing that things were getting bad, and at this point I was working in a pub and I wasn't really going to uni, and it was a case of if I was in the pub I was drinking, if I wasn't in the pub I was drinking, and you know, I turned into someone that I didn't recognise. You know, it wasn't who I wanted to be. It wasn't what I'd gone to uni for. That wasn't me.
The other thing with alcohol as well, like one thing I want to mention is that if you can you name me one thing, like event that you go to and there isn't alcohol available? Everywhere you go, whether it's a wedding, drink,
children's parties.
No, you got really?
Maybe that's just the island. Maybe
is that the kids or is that they're on the back always start. That's brilliant. But like as well, like honestly, even like wedding, funeral, wake, drink. But
it's a socially acceptable thing, isn't it?
It is a very much social acceptable. Yeah.
You're seen to be the weird person, or
if you don't
exactly.
And I wish it wasn't like that. And I don't think it should be as well. I think you should be okay to go to a bar and say, I want a Coke. And sometimes your mates kind of go, oh, what are you drinking? Why are you not drinking? That shouldn't be a case. You should just be able to just, you know, be able to have a Coke if you want to. Like,
and that's the thing. I think now I can sit here and go, you know what? Maybe sometimes it is, you know, like I said at the start, people turn around to you and they say yes to everything at uni. You don't always have to say yes.
You don't, and that's the big thing.
You know,
I'm very much a people pleaser. I don't know. I feel like you. I think like you can be quite hard. Like I think you can. You could say no if you wanted to, but
no. Well, really? I could do, but I tend not to. Because I'm, you know, once again, that's sort of something. You know, I try and be a fun person. I try and be, you know, the life of the party as such. Even though I know I'm not, but I like to. You know, I like to think that way, and then I sort of turn around and I think, oh, well, if I have another one, or if I get these round of shots or something, someone will go, hey, go on, Eve, and that, you know, that sort of extrinsic praise, the praise that you get from other people.
Exactly what you said earlier about wanting to be liked when you go to uni. You want to be that fun person.
Exactly, you know.
Interesting point.
And I do think there's a time, not necessarily a time and a place for it, but there's a time and a place where you need to say no. Yeah. And there's a time and a place where you need to turn around and you need to say, right, I'm done here. And that's what I did. So I dropped out of uni.
Right, yeah.
So I was resitting first year. And
of course,
so I got around to about April time. And I was like, do you know what? This just isn't for me.
It's not for you. It's not going to work.
Exactly.
You don't want to do it. It's just, I need to get out of it.
I'd sort of, you know, it was at this point where I was probably at my lowest, and I thought, do you know what, this isn't going to be something that's going to make it better, because quite clearly my mental health has been on a massive decline since I've been here. You know, I'm very much a big believer in everything happens for a reason, and 100%. I choose to believe that I don't have any regrets, or many regrets in my life. I choose to believe that everything I've done has just been a life lesson. And what we do in our lives and the things that happen.
I'm such a strong believer of that as well.
Exactly.
So strong.
You know.
You feel like there's like a missed opportunity sometimes, or things don't go right. I'm always a believer as well that not only everything happens for a reason, not only that, but I always feel like there's something better down the line. If you close a door, there'll be another door that opens eventually.
100%.
That's the way. So obviously, like, you left and stuff, and what a good decision in hindsight, probably.
Well, honestly, so I left. I moved out of my uni house on the last day of July last year. And since then, I've moved back in with my mum.
And was that the start of your relationship hopefully getting better?
It was. So before I moved away for uni, it was very much a mother-daughter relationship, living at home with her and everything, and that happens. But when I moved back, there was a different dynamic to
how interesting.
Our friendship, our relationship as mother and daughter, because I'd now done being an adult by myself for a bit as well.
Yeah,
And, you know,
yeah.
as much as I moved back and she knew that I needed her support and everything, and she has supported me, you know, endlessly, and I will never be able to thank her enough for it. There was a shift in
The whole dynamic.
a whole dynamic,
Yeah.
but not necessarily in a bad way. It was different, and you know, it was different to navigate our lives around each other.
Interesting.
But I have never felt closer to my mum.
How funny.
She is my best mate.
It's similar to my mum. I don't know if, because I'm just trying to just like gauge sort of experiences that we both had, but like I'm guessing with your mum it was kind of like, might be like you're more like friends, because my mum literally turned around to me like over lockdown and she just said to me like Finn, you're an adult now, you're one of us, welcome. Welcome, because like
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, because you're
Sucks for you.
gonna need it. And like all of a sudden it was like, you know, you are here. And then dynamic changed then, and I started living with my mum, so I don't know if whether you can relate with that, but it's very much like you're just like best pals in a way. Which is so good.
100%. I can remember my mum saying to me when I was younger, look, I'm your mum. You only get one mum. You get loads of friends. So
true words.
Yeah,
wise words.
You know, she always said to me just when I was little, I'm not your friend, I'm your mum.
Yeah.
And as I've got older, I've sort of come to realise actually, and I think she's come to realise as well, that's a lie. She's my best mate, and I might not be her best mate. I might not be cool enough to be hers. She is my best friend, and since being home, it's genuinely been.
Oh, how amazing!
She's been my biggest support throughout everything.
It makes me so happy.
Yeah, it's so lovely, and like I say, I've been home for a year now.
Yeah.
And since I've moved home, I've found so many different ways to help and better my mental health and the way that I am and the way that I deal with things.
You're hitting every question. I literally was going to ask a question, you just go away and answer it without me even saying yes, and that was literally it. You just kind of found ways. I mean, what kind of ways were they? Just kind of just self-reflection of when you got back. I'm guessing you're like,
well, you know, my first biggest thing was I wasn't drinking every day.
Yeah, how was that? Because obviously, like, was it quite easy for you to go off the drinks originally, or?
It was, I wouldn't turn around and say, I wouldn't turn around and say I was an alcoholic or anything. I wouldn't turn around and say anything like that. But I do believe I became dependent on it.
Okay, that's a good way of wording it. Yeah.
There's a lot of people out there who struggle so much worse with alcohol addictions and any sort of addiction to literally anything in this world. And there's no way that I'd want to compare myself to another person or say I had it bad compared to others. I know you shouldn't compare yourself, but you know,
your own experience of it.
Exactly, you know, and I can't turn around and say that I don't drink now, because I do, you know. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it's not constant. It's not something that I need to do.
No, that's good.
You know, and it did, you know, it was a bit difficult. It was a bit strange going back and thinking, what do I do with my free time? Because in my free time, I go to the pub. You know, and it became more of a sort of, it wasn't going to the pub to have a drink. It was going to the pub to see my friends. And that was,
shift.
You know, that was the biggest thing for me was I was going to the pub to see my friends at uni and with my friends, but that wasn't the main intention.
Before it was like, I need to drink. Well, like, once upon a time, it's story time. But like back when you're at uni, you kind of said to me that you went to the pub to drink so that you could then let out your feelings and emotions and all your thoughts. But now it was kind of like you went to see your friends.
Exactly.
That's a great shift. So you kind of just changed the target, the goal of going to a pub.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Great. That's really good.
You know, when I moved back, like I say, I built that friendship, that relationship with my mum back up. I also built up all of my friendships with my friends that I've been with for 8 or 9 years now, you know, and
amazing.
All the things that I'd been told about how they were leaving me behind and how they were, you know, distancing themselves from me, it was all a lie. And you know, I've come to realise that now, and I love all of my friends dearly. And I know that everything that has happened in this past year has just solidified all of the relationships, the strong, the loving relationships I have around me.
Yeah. That's so good.
Yeah, you know, there's been a lot of things in the past year that have just helped me sort of in every angle of my life. You know, when I moved back, I got a job as a barista, and you know, that sort of got me through for a little bit. But you know, I've done hospitality for 7 years, and I was sort of done with it. You know. It might sound horrible, but dealing with people, God, Order a Guinness first. Come on now. Come on.
Literally.
I went away from the pubs and I went into the coffee.
Did you work at a pub? Sorry.
I've been working at a pub for years. Well, was working at a pub for years. I've been in the hospitality industry for 7 years. Yeah. And it was only 6 months of that I worked in a coffee shop where we sold coffee. But, it was a nice shift. It was a lovely shift. I wasn't working all of these late evenings, and I wasn't, it wasn't rowdy or anything. It was a completely different crowd. Just making that shift in my job at that point, it made a massive difference. And then I really enjoyed it there. I thoroughly enjoyed it, but I wanted a change of scene. So I started looking elsewhere for office jobs, and in January I got a job at a company, and I now work as an accounts assistant at that company, and I've been there for been there for what, I can't count, 9 months now, almost 9 months.
You did better than me. Yeah, probably. Yeah. Is it October now?
It's October. Yeah, God, it's October.
God, that's really scary. Oh no, 2025 is almost upon us. Yeah.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
No, definitely not. Life's going too quick. But it's funny because I used to be an accountant as well, so I can kind of compare. But so are you enjoying that?
I love it. It's
amazing.
It's the best decision I've made. A lot of people said that I'd find it restless and such a change of pace.
It makes me so happy.
Yeah,
it makes me so happy hearing this.
Like, people said, you're going to hate it, and I mean, I don't know if part of it's because I'm too stubborn to let people be right, but also, the change of pace was what I needed. It's been perfect for me, and honestly, this job has been one of the things that has kept me afloat. I say afloat. No,
it's to keep you in check. It's just kind of kept you just okay, and looking. I guess you kind of look forward to the future a bit more as well.
100%. But I think I say afloat, and I don't mean afloat because, in all honesty, this past year, I've been doing so good. Honestly,
that's so good to hear. That's so good.
It's been lovely. I've really got myself back.
Reconnected
to
with yourself.
Me. Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm me again. I feel more like Eve.
Yeah.
Which is, it's a really nice thing to feel.
How did you? So, like, obviously you managed to get back to this point since leaving uni and stuff.
Yeah.
Was there like anything you kind of did? Like, because some people, like, I know I've done it before, where like I have days sometimes when mental health's really bad, and I'm in like a bit of a rut. Like, I'm being in a rut for like a week or so. Not just saying. Like, what was it like when you got back? You just kind of said to yourself, "I need to make a change," and it was just obviously going and reconnecting with friends. Yeah,
it was. Like I say, I had that support. I had my mum. She was there. She was very.
Having your mum was
100%. It was very much right. Okay, you're back. You're home. Let's
sort you out.
Let's do this. Let's and everything. And it getting that push. That sort of, it's
like a swing, just to sort of push you on, and then
it's what I needed. And in terms of how I've just sort of bettered my mental state, and my attitude towards my mental health, and my attitude towards life, it's been so many different ways. Some of them are really basic, even in terms of reading.
Oh yeah,
It's your basic things that you're taught, sort of run of the mill. Go for a walk, go and read, and all of this sort of stuff.
A lot of people neglect those basic things. So you call basic, they're very important. Better reading.
You see, this is the thing, is for years I'd turn around, here's a list of things that you should do to look after yourself. Drink more water, sleep more, have a bedtime.
And people go,
exercise. Right. And I'd go, nah, I don't need to do any of that. Yeah. That's all a myth. Actually, no, it's really not. Yeah. And that's what I found in the past year. And when I was younger, I probably would have thought all of these things are boring, but they're not boring.
No, yeah.
Routine, things like that. It's
routine's good as well.
It's wonderful. Good. It helps. Yeah. I've also got, since I started working my new job, I've started going to the gym as well.
I was gonna ask you. I don't want to ask you and say, have you been going gym running? You're like, no. So I want to let you tell me. That's embarrassing.
Actually, no, I don't.
That's incredible. Yeah, that's so good.
I mean, I haven't been in probably about 2 months.
It happens, by the way, I want to say, and you don't need to be ashamed of yourself. I've done that plenty of times.
Yeah.
I go to gym and I've had a few months off.
Yeah.
Sometimes mental health needs it. Sometimes
Exactly.
You need a bit of, sometimes life happens and it's fine. You get back on it.
Exactly. Well, this is the thing,
You've signed up. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
Well done for that.
Motivation, I think, for everything in life will rise and fall at multiple points.
We're human.
Exactly. You've just got to
ride a wave and
yeah, exactly. And I don't think necessarily you need to push yourself for that motivation. I don't think you need to turn around and go, why am I not motivated to do this right now? Because it will come.
Yeah.
And if it doesn't come, then maybe that wasn't the right thing that you needed to do at that point.
Exactly.
And it's not to say that it won't in the future. I think that's something really important for people, for me, for anyone to sort of realise.
One thing I did want to talk about actually is, well, first of all, we go to a lot of you go to all my football tournaments, don't you? My charity ones. And the latest one I went to, rather unexpectedly, Eve came over to me and you can explain what Matey is, but you literally came over and just put this wristband on me. And I haven't taken this wristband off. Obviously, we'll do a zoom in a minute. I haven't taken this wristband off in quite a long time. Yeah. But yeah, you've got one as well, don't you?
So they basically, they are wristbands from my friend Jake's clothing company called Matey. So basically, Matey is a mental health awareness clothing brand.
Clothing brand.
Clothing brand.
I think that's what you explained to me. It's like clothing brand.
Yeah.
Like mental health awareness. Clothing line brand.
So I'm actually
really cool.
I'm wearing a jumper, and the top I've got on underneath is Matey.
It looks so good. I love it.
Yeah. This is from one of their newer collections. They've got quite a lot. So
it's fine if you don't know. Sorry, I'm just because I'm just curious. Do you know why they called it Matey?
I mean, I could be making this up, but I'm almost entirely sure that I know this is right. Jake might kill me if it's wrong.
No, Jake is fine. It's fine. It's just what he thinks. It's fine.
I'm almost entirely convinced it's because it's to do with mates. Like I was saying, one of the things about Matey. So 10% of all profits go towards mental health charities.
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
that's amazing.
So they go towards mental health charities, and the biggest thing about Matey is breaking the stigma surrounding mental health.
Yep.
In the same way, in the same way that we're sat here talking now, is the same reason that Matey goes ahead and tries to encourage people to talk about their mental health, to open up about their struggles. And you can't really talk about your mental health struggles without a mate.
Yeah.
I
say Matey quite a lot. I say you're right, Matey.
I don't know if you can see it on the wristbands, but the M is actually two people holding hands.
If I do it like this, I'll do it like a cut on the video.
Yeah, so
we can just kind of see.
It's actually two people holding hands.
There it is. Yeah.
The M that's the M in Matey.
That's amazing.
So my friend Jake, one of my oldest friends, him and his girlfriend Poppy, they've done an absolutely amazing job. They've built this brand up from scratch, and I'm so incredibly proud of the work that they've done in reducing sort of the stigma surrounding mental health, to get people talking.
It's incredible.
To get people opening up about things. I'm sure they'd be okay with me saying as well that they've had their own struggles. Jake certainly had his own struggles with his mental health, and I think it was just as important for him as it was for other people to open up and talk about these things.
What an amazing thing you're doing, Jake, honestly, and everyone else involved. I'm very proud of you. I've never met you, but this is an amazing cause that you're doing.
He's
amazing.
I feel very privileged to be a close friend of creators of Matey, and
it's incredible. It looks so cool as well.
I want one. I love all of this stuff.
Is there any more in stock?
There's loads. So they've got a website actually. I don't know if I can plug it.
I don't mean to advertise, but obviously, if Jake wants us to, it's a good cause and it's mental health, so you can do.
It's just Matey clothing on anything really.
Great. I'll link it because I think.
Thank you.
I've always said with this podcast, I don't like to advertise because I don't know if I'll get in trouble or something down the line, but this is a very important cause to me, so screw everyone else, because I think this is very important, so I'll definitely link it, definitely check them out. They've got an Instagram which I can also
got a website, TikTok,
TikTok's
and Facebook.
huge.
Facebook, TikTok, Instagram.
I link my own stuff as well.
Whole shebang.
Yeah, wow. Oh my god. Amazing, Jake. Is that kind of it really on Matey at the moment?
I think so, yeah.
Maybe more down the line, who knows?
100%. Yeah, definitely expanded. As you know, they're incredible. They're
huge.
There's 100%.
Amazing. Yeah, cool. So on that note, I think you really said this already, Eve, behind cameras. You are literally chomping at the bit to tell me your song. So for you guys that maybe didn't watch the previous episode or haven't seen my story, I'm going to mention his name again. He's happy with it. My very good friend Luke Gilbert, he came up with this idea, and he actually told Cam, the other co-host, this. He said to me, he said to Cam, and then Cam told me, why don't we have this a Conn'Cast playlist of all the songs of people, or the guests that come on, they can then tell us a song that kind of meant a lot to them, helped them through quite a dark time, and they can tell me on the episode, and we can just create this playlist and just have this massive The Conn'Cast playlist, and hopefully you can listen to it and it helps you guys with your own mental health. But Eve has got one, or maybe several, but you're going to
probably loads.
You tell us one. You can do more than one, but what is your song?
So it's my favourite song in the entire world ever. It is Everlong by Foo Fighters.
Oh, what a tune!
It is.
What a tune!
You know, I know a lot of people are like, oh, Everlong's like their biggest song. I don't care.
No. It's massive. Yeah,
I was bought the Greatest Hits album when I was about 4 years old, and I listened to it non-stop, and that's my favourite song.
What a banger!
And you know, slight sort of salt in the wound at the moment, but Dave Grohl was my hero.
Oh yeah.
You know, things happened, didn't they?
Yeah,
but,
God.
You know,
I heard about that. Yeah, is he the guitarist? Was he?
No, he was the lead singer.
I knew what happened.
Drummer of Nirvana. Drummer of Nirvana.
That's it. Sorry, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah, I don't. And
he does play guitar.
We can't.
He's a multi-talented man.
But anyways, that is your song. That's amazing.
Great song. Best song.
It's really fun actually. I just want to add, this whole playlist has got so many different genres. By the way, like I chose a song by Mac Miller because I love him, and then Connor Barkley Rogers from the other episode chose what's it called? I can't even remember. It's Bring Me to Horizon.
Right. Yeah.
What's it called? Can You Feel My Heart? I think it's called, isn't it? It's a massive song.
Yes, yeah, I know what you're on about.
It's a massive song. I couldn't think of it all of a sudden, but like, there's so many genres. So like, honestly, choose whatever song you want. Doesn't need to match. Because Foo Fighters are always great though. So thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
Finally, last thing on the agenda, Eve. Is there anything you can think of right now? Any sort of advice that you want to give? Maybe people in the same position as you, that you'd wish that you told yourself maybe a few years ago, or even just now. It's fine if you don't.
I think probably the main thing is don't. I mean, it's sort of step one of dealing with mental health, but don't bottle things up. Mm-hmm. Talk to people, break the stigma, make the change that.
Yep.
It will help you. It will help others.
Yes.
Even if you don't necessarily want to help yourself. It will help others,
Yep. 100%.
If you feel helpless at this point, remind yourself that there are other people out there who may be in the same boat. And if you're anything like me, you'd want to help other people.
Exactly,
and in the process, it helps yourself.
Exactly that. I love that, actually.
But yeah, it's, just keep going. Everything happens for a reason.
Yep.
And
it sounds as cliche. I said it in the previous episode that there is always light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how bleak things might look. I think with the right sort of support network, which you had with obviously moving back with your mum, you have your support network. You have people that are kind of there, like, what? Come on, Eve, or like with you, like, come on, like, you can do it. So just remember that there's always light at the end of the tunnel.
100%.
Life can and will get better.
Yeah.
But just keep persevering and push through.
Yeah.
And I'm always here to chat too. I think we've had a few chats down the years, Eve, and it's good to chat. It's good to talk, break the stigma. And I always forget to say this, and this is very important. If you are sat there watching this or listening to this and you feel like, I've got a story to tell, or you want to talk about your mental health, please do come onto the show, because we need more and more guests. They're running out fast. I've been doing this for about 5-6 episodes. We need more people. So even if you think that your story is not interesting, it will be interesting. You need to talk about it if it's bothering you, and hopefully episode by episode, discussion by discussion, we will break the stigma surrounding mental health. So is that all, Eve? Are you happy? Yeah?
I think so.
Yeah, kind of got everything off your chest.
Done enough talking, yeah.
But no, thank you very much, Eve.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, it's all good. I really appreciate it. And to you guys, see you next Sunday. Bye.
Bye.
This is a thumbnail. Oh, this is a great idea. I'll be like, crossing my arms.